Help me with the kidnapping fear, though. I feel like that in her post is totally out of control.
Well, I'm not going to say that she's out of control fearing that. That's a fear that she has.
Yeah, she can have that fear, but the idea that all moms in America should be, their number one concern in a parking lot should be, my child will be kidnapped from their car seat.
I think it's okay for her to fear that. I don't think most fears are not rational.
Oh, right.
You're afraid of sharks? Okay, that's not super rational. How often are you in the ocean? But you're afraid of sharks and you go about your day fearing sharks and you're landlocked in Ohio.
Right.
Okay. It's not rational, but it's a fear. And if it makes her feel comfortable to not put her kids in the car, that's fine.
I totally agree with you in that, in terms of her, right? If it were to become kind of like conventional wisdom that we don't leave our kids in the car for a matter of seconds when we're about to get back in it because of kidnapping. Conventional wisdom, that's weird. That's what I would say. And I have a reason for that.
Okay, go ahead.
She brought up the statistic 265 kids every year are abducted when someone tries to steal a car. Okay. I did math, which is shocking to everyone.
Yes.
There are 46.6 million kids 11 and under in America. That is a 0.0005% chance that would happen to you. Your kid, because the National Weather Service says 270 people in America are struck by lightning each year. Your kid is more likely to be struck by lightning in the cart when you return it than they are to be abducted from the car. Now, no one's telling mothers you can't possibly walk your kids outside because they might be struck by lightning, because that's silly. The odds of it are so small, it's not even worth stressing about. Now, the hot car thing, I'm with you. I understand, especially on a really hot day, you got to make better decisions. But I don't think it's a rational fear to be called conventional wisdom, to be fearful of abduction in a grocery store parking lot.
I don't know if I'm there with you.
Why not?
Because kids do get kidnapped.
They do, yes.
I also pulled up statistics of kids that have been kidnapped from cars. It's happened at least once a month since the beginning of this year. Whether it was they knew there was kids in there and they're stealing the car for that reason, or they're just stealing the car.
You're saying in America,
Yes.
it's happened once a month.
Yeah.
So we're headed for 12 this year.
Yeah, there could be more. I don't know I can't remember if those were just in grocery stores or not. But I think whether it's 12 or not, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Our jobs as parents is to keep our kids safe.
Yeah,
if we're offering them up to be in a car alone and we're not around, they're not in eye or earshot, I think it's our duty as parents to keep our kids safe. And if we know that that's a possibility and we're leaving our car running, especially for someone like me who doesn't have a fancy car and remote start or lock or whatever, I don't think it's wise to leave your kids out of ear or eye shot when you have opportunities to not do that. Like take them to the cart corral with you, like parking
So like
next
better
to a
safe
cart
than
corral.
sorry, essentially. Like,
Yeah.
Unless there's a 0% chance, you got to be thinking about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, I would be more concerned with the kids loose out of the cart, while you're walking back to the car, that one could get distracted, see something and pull away from your hand and run out into the lot traffic. I would think there'd be a better chance of a child getting hurt that way than abducted.
I mean,
Yeah,
statistically, probably. Yeah.
Sure. I keep my kids in the cart or I hold onto their hand.
Well, and to be fair, at the same time, I know that my parents' generation looked at my generation and thought we were far too overprotective of our children, because that was, even though Ron's kind of between the two, for your parents were like, leave the house and don't come back. If you do, you'll be in trouble. Like,
Right.
I don't want to even know where you are. Don't tell me.
If you're thirsty, drink water out of the hose.
Right.
Yeah.
And kidnapping statistics are really, as much as they're monitored, they're just not that different. It's just people know about them more now. And so one of the people have talked about what's wrong with kids/parents today. They're overprotective, they're helicopters, they're lawnmowers. Part of it is fear-based.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm just approaching one of these going, is this one that could have gotten to the point of a little irrational. That fear. Now, hot car, I'm totally with you. So, maybe it's a fall day and it's not too hot in the car. And you got to walk 10 paces to put your cart back. I just don't see there as a problem.
You don't have to see there's a problem. But I don't think we have to demonize parents who want to do that.
I'm not demonizing. I'm just saying I don't understand the fear when it's statistically not something to be fearful of.
And again, most fears are irrational,
Okay, fair.
especially statistically. Most fears are irrational. And it's different for every person.
Yeah.
Life is full of calculated risks, and I think there are certain ones that just have an abundance of caution we should not be willing to take. But then there's other ones. I think it becomes overprotective when, like, you won't let your child do something. Like hang out with a friend. I know sleepovers are kind of going by the wayside because parents are afraid of their children getting abused. That is something that might be crossing into an unhealthy, irrational, we're now living in fear type of thing, unless you have like your own trauma, which is why you're concerned about that. But this is such a simple thing with a simple solution, and it's not something that's taking anything from anybody. I don't consider this living in fear.
And again, I'm not saying don't do it. I actually appreciate the strategy. You're doing more work than I did to be considerate when you keep the kids in the cart and go to the corral. I mean, my strategy is lazy compared to that. So I'm not being critical. I'm just trying to think through it. Because when I look at the statistics, it's just kind of like, you can be scared of anything you want. I mean, some people are scared of non-poisonous spiders, and that's irrational too, right?
Right.
Or like snakes that are not poisonous. Or
Snakes that don't even live in America.
yeah, and so people can have their fears, and that's totally fine. I don't know. Daria brings up the sleepover thing. I get that, but if we are letting fears dictate these decisions, it can just become problematic in the long run. I just don't know where to draw lines. We have to draw lines in our own lives where they're comfortable, I suppose.
I think leaving your kids in the cart or not the cart doesn't bother anybody else. It doesn't do anything to anybody else.
No, it doesn't.
Unless you're leaving your cart out, and then it is bothersome to other people.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not thinking about other people because you're leaving your carts in the middle of the aisle, which you shouldn't be doing.
Can you see that why I was annoyed by her primary argument was fear of kidnapping when her kids would more likely be struck by lightning?
You can be annoyed, but it's just she's talking out of her own fear.
Yeah.
And we all do that every day.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
And she just chose to post a video about it, which she was probably unwise to do that.
Yeah, the more, like, I almost posted my porta potty in the left lane on 480 yesterday, and I was just like, I don't know. I don't need to post that. The older I get, the more social media becomes toxic, the more I'm like, I don't even know if I want to be part of that. I was picturing someone going, how dare you laugh at something that could be dangerous? There's...
Sure.
Sure.
Well, there's still time for emails to come in.
Well, I'm sure they will. Brian, how dare you? It's just, if I had a quarter for every time someone said, Brian, how dare you, I'd be a rich man. But suffice it to say, we're saying there really aren't many excuses to just leave your cart laying around in a parking lot.
No.
Consider others more important than yourself.
Yes.
It's a biblical
There's
principle.
Plenty of other ways to keep your kids with you and put your cart away.
Mm-hmm.
Costco stinks. Their cart corrals are few and far between. But you can figure it out.
Yeah, some of them need to come. And how about Tractor Supply? They don't have any sometimes. Why do I have to go back in the store?
I'm not trying to go back in the store.
I do, though, because I'm trying to be considerate.
It's not fun.
Then you use a flatbed cart, and the automatic doors can't see it, so you look silly. You almost smash into the door. But I think it's also like, I don't know. I know prevailing wisdom is saying, don't leave your kids in the cart or return the cart. But I don't think it's careless for me to say it's not a big enough risk to worry about that my kids might be kidnapped in those few seconds.
If it's not a fear for you, that's fine. You don't have to do that.
But
you can do whatever you want to
It's possible
do.
now that I could have parents under the age of 30 or 35 might attack me on the internet now because I've said I don't think that's something to be scared of.
I think we just need to be respectful of the different times that we've each grown up in. Lauren and my generations have seen a lot more things on the news than I think people in your generations did at a similar age. So that probably has something to do with it.
Oh, 100%. And I'm trying to be gentle here. But, I can also say, watch out for lightning. It's coming for you more than
You
kidnappers.
can look out for lightning and also take your kids to the cart corral.
That is correct.
You can do both.
You can do both. Okay. 7:01, time for a break. Don't hurt me. I like disagreement. It's fun. Are you having fun, Lauren? People are going to be like, Brian, you're so mean to Lauren. Are you going to walk home You're going to drive home today. That Brian is so mean to me.
I'm
Let's
going to
just clear
drive
that up.
home, and I'm still going to take my kids to the cart corral, even after this conversation.
I think that's great.
Bullied me.
Don't say that on the radio. People are going to believe it. Don't say that.
No, Brian's not bullying me. I don't care. I'm going to do whatever I want, whether Brian says to do it or not. So
Lauren's technically the boss for people that don't know. She's the producer.
I'll bully him.
Does anyone need to defend you now?
No.
And say, hey, you, Brian, you stop it. You stop talking to her like that.
No, I'm fine. I'm still going to do whatever I want. So Brian's thoughts don't change my life.
Someone is still going to write in and be like, that poor, helpless Lauren.
Poor Lauren.
She's so delicate.
How can she even go to the store by herself?
I wish someone would carry her from back to her
Me
car.
too, honestly.
Oh,
Eddie, you're slacking on the job.